Hey, good morning, guys. Hope you all are doing well on this Monday, the 28th day here of August. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. I apologize in advance. I forgot my little earpiece thingy, so I have no idea what I sound like or what the music sounds like right now. So I apologize if it's really loud. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and shut the music off there. Hopefully it doesn't blast your ears too much. So you guys guide me along. If I mess up anything and hit the wrong button, I mean, you guys are pretty good at telling me that anyway, but just make sure to tell me today, especially because I'm too lazy to go back and get it right now. Plus, I'd have to leave you guys. I don't want to leave you all. I hope you all have had a good weekend. I know it was wild going through the intense heat, and then Friday in general was just a wild weather day. So many different stories that we had to follow on the weather headlines when it came to the intense heat, and the intense heat gave way to the intense thunderstorms that produced very strong winds. I'm still in the process of doing cleanup even at my house today. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get it wrapped up, but nothing serious, and I'm fortunate on that. But a lot of folks did have a lot of big trees that have withstood a lot of the strong wind events, even the two that we had in March and April. And then this downburst set up, which is what that was, which is basically a bowl of air that just drops down from the top of the thunderstorm because it was so intensely hot outside. And then we had a dry pocket of air. And boy, I tell you, when that air cooled, it came down. You guys can see that it can cause, in many cases around here, I've said this many times, downburst scenarios in the Louisville metro especially tend to cause more problems than even if we had a brief tornado touchdown, just because they just really hit some of our oldest trees and they don't have a chance. In that kind of a wind, they will likely fall. And they can withstand a general wind coming at them, but a wind that comes that strong, that rapidly straight down like that is very tough for trees. So hope everyone's got power back. I know there's some that are still without. But we do have cooler weather that has arrived. That's good. That's good. We're going to talk about that, I promise. Yes, the heat is going to come back, as I alluded to, but the heat is going to be a little different. I'll explain what that scenario is about, because it really does have somewhat to do with what's happening with Tropical Storm IDALIA, which is now into or about to be into the Gulf of Mexico. There's a live look, by the way, into Florida. This is actually not too far away from Clearwater Beach. What a lovely spot. It's nice and beautiful there. Yeah, this will be a different story tomorrow night into Wednesday. This is where IDALIA is going to be heading toward. More on that again coming up in just a few moments. All right, outside at the moment, we do have a few spotty showers. Have been lingering for you guys in like Adair County, Greene and Taylor, maybe even Marion. You all have had to deal with the clouds and at least the spotty shower chance for about 36 hours now. It's been a little tough to get rid of this. And it's really because of the response that we're seeing now with the tropics that this is going to remain an issue for another 24 hours before we can completely get rid of this little moisture train that's kind of entrenched across southern Kentucky. If you're north of that, and a lot of you are, you get north of the parkways, you get into Louisville, and it's actually not too bad at all. It may get clouds at times, but with the north wind, it actually feels pretty doggone awesome outside. And we do have another cold front that will be the main front this week to cool us back down. Weather view shows the tropical feed that is already being pulled in. There's the eastern side there of IDALIA already getting to see some of the outer rain bands. There's the same front, by the way, that was the one that triggered the showers and storms on Friday and parts of Saturday, still on the weather map. It's kind of combining together with the hurricane as it gets going, which is the reason why it's going to be an incredible amount of rainfall in the southeast corner of the country with this. Our next front, though, that's going to help drop our temperatures down, it's right there, located across areas of the Dakotas. Doesn't see much rain with it now, but I think that will begin to change a little more as we get closer in time. All right, there are the hurricane watches that are out. This is the Big Bend area of Florida. This is not good. You guys know that go down to Panama City or down to Destin. You know that the Big Bend area is basically a bowl. And the way that is shaped because of its outline of the coastline, you get a hurricane that approaches west of Tampa. You end up with feeder bands because of the counterclockwise flow. The feeder bands throw the water, especially when the eye gets closer to the shore. They throw the water inland, but it grabs the hold of all the water that is actually in the Big Bend area and throws it into the central portion here of the panhandle of Florida. And that is that's not good. Now, on the other side, around Panama City and to around Destin, it's going to be a little more offshore flow. You'll get some flooding that can happen in that when the eye rotates by, but it's really the idea of the eastern side of its track as it moves through the area. That is where you're going to get just all the water thrown on shore, and that's where storm surge becomes a little more of a factor. The water here, some of the deepest water, by the way, of all the Atlantic is actually found as you get into this portion here, not far from the Yucatan Peninsula, and you get near Cuba. As you guys know, this was the crater right here that created the Gulf of Mexico. That is, some believe, is the one that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. But you see that's the crater that we have here, the Yucatan, and it's some of the deepest waters found in that area. I'm talking about water temperatures well into the 90s. And again, that is what has been a big fuel for rapid intensifying tropical systems that have moved across that. And we haven't had one yet that's done it this year. So this water is relatively untapped, which is the reason why hurricane forecasting is getting better on track. I think it's doing really well on track. It's storm intensity that the modeling is not the greatest in. It's better than what it was even 3 years ago. It's been better, but it's not perfect, right? So that's what they're going to be watching here. You can see the latest flare up. It's fit perfectly so far between Cozumel and Cancun over to Cuba, and that little gap, it matters. It may not seem like it, but it does. It's allowing for the center of it to stay over the warm water, and it likely will. So the last update we have, we'll have one coming up for the midday show coming up, but it's forecast to be a major hurricane, which is a Cat 3 or stronger. I did plot where the oil platforms are, because this usually means a even bigger spike in gas prices, right? When they have to evacuate the platforms well in advance of a hurricane. Most of the platforms in the Gulf are actually in the central Gulf, central and western. There's only a few that are located near IDALIA's path. So I'm sure they're already being evacuated. So I don't think right now this is going to cause a bigger issue on that idea. If this is where the weather-related economics kick in, we'll keep an eye on that. But right now it looks like it would go mainly east of them. They probably still would evacuate some of those, though. But you see the tropical storm or the hurricane watches that are out near around the Tampa Bay area, the Big Bend area of Florida, just south of Panama City Beach. That is where the track will be at that time of about 115 to 120 miles per hour on a wind speed. This is going to be in the wee hours of your Wednesday. So again, late tomorrow night into Wednesday morning is when landfall should take place. It's going over the northern sections of Florida. You guys that know that area well know that it's a relatively flat area. So it usually does not rapidly weaken. A tropical system does not. And here's where it's crucial for Charleston and Myrtle Beach, is if it goes too far out, it can actually try to maintain its structure of the eye and its wind fields intact, and it will be slowing down, by the way, which could really cause a battering for the coast. The ideal setup is for it to go a little more west of the actual coastline. Therefore, the eye can have a chance to become disorganized. And if that's the case, then the system will become just a huge heavy rain maker, but it'll cut back on some of the wind aspect of it. But that's still a question that has to be figured out. No one knows that part yet, but at least we know that the Big Bend area of Florida is likely. And then it does slow down and kind of wander out here in the Atlantic, by the way, for next week. There's a strong high that we'll be building here next week. Not too sure. Sorry, got a spammer here. That's an unusual spammer post. Who is this? Okay. Let me delete that. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. All right. So the high pressure that's going to be building into the north of this will slow it down. I don't see a sign yet that Idalia will come back to the eastern coastline. Is that unheard of? No, it's not. No, it's not. We always, in a very humorous way, refer to it as a Gaston kind of move, because almost every time Gaston has been a system, it has done something weird. So the tracks can certainly shift on the road. If it has nowhere to go in the Atlantic, it will bounce back, but we'll worry about that a bit later. Also want to mention at least Category 4 Franklin. Franklin's not getting any attention, right? But look at that eye. East of the Bahamas, on the other side of Florida, already kicking the surf up already. So the waves are already getting high for Florida and the Carolinas, and they will be the next couple of days. But you add in Idalia coming in to make the waves even higher. You got like a double whammy here for the eastern coastline. That's a lot of beach erosion too for the sands, for the beaches there. So that's not good. But Franklin is a powerful Cat 4. Forecast to track just north of Bermuda. It's a relatively compact hurricane, but still be passing north of Bermuda, and we'll be watching that as it heads into Wednesday night and Thursday. That one should gain enough speed to get ahead of the high pressure itself, and therefore it'll eventually head into England. Okay, for us, what does this all mean? Well, typically when you have a landfalling system in Florida and the Carolinas, you do get a lot of sinking air northwest of its track, and that may certainly be the case in our area, and that tends to lead to a hotter scenario. So for us, we will be dealing with the front and a few showers. Again, there's a little bit of a surge later tonight that tries to push in across central Kentucky, so I can't rule out a brief little shower that may sneak in later on tonight and tomorrow. For those of you around Bardstown, it's possible. Otherwise, low clouds will be a little more likely. But then here comes the actual front. You see it moving in across Illinois. That will drop in as we into late tomorrow night into Wednesday. It's got rain with it initially, but then it runs out of gas, so there's not much, not much fuel for it. But it will help in allowing for some refreshing air. Doesn't look like we're going to get highs in the 70s, and that's it. I think now, given the idea we haven't had a whole lot of rain in some areas the past 24 hours anyway, that I do think that we will see temperatures get above 80, but only for a couple of hours on Wednesday. It's still going to be nice. It's still going to be nice. Even though it's not going to be 79 officially for a high, we'll be 79 until like 3 in the afternoon, and then we're like 80, 81. That's not bad. Still is going to feel great. Lows will still get into the 50s, but the heat will build back in response to Idalia being off to the east. You can see how Idalia moves off the eastern seaboard. Here we are on Thursday. Here comes the heat shield as we into Thursday, Friday, and Labor Day weekend. Now, the core of the intense heat is still going to be to our west. We'll be back in the edge of it. Yes, there's a chance to get into the low to perhaps mid 90s again for the Labor Day holiday weekend. So if you have plans to be near water, go to the lake for the holiday weekend, go camping, actually looks to be in your favor, because anytime the tropics are active like this, the eastern seaboard, we tend to be in a hot pattern for us. I don't see this really changing dramatically over the next couple of weeks. There are some signals that we may see a pretty cool shot of air that may build down just in time for near the first day of fall in about 2 weeks, 2.5 or so from now, which would be kind of like last year. Last year did that as well, kind of similar. But the potential for excessive heat, and that's where we get back to those excessive heat warnings that are out, that potential is low. It's much higher to the south and west. The reason for that, we are not seeing signs right now that the dew point is going to get back into the 78, 79, 80 degree range that we had on dew points with the last heat wave, which led to the extreme levels and the danger levels of 115 to 125 in some cases in the heat index. This time around, dew points are expected to be in the 60s with this round of heat coming our way for the holiday weekend. Yes, it's still going to be hot, but I don't know if we even register a heat index. We may be 95, 96 with a heat index of 95 and 96, right at that number. So that's the good news to share with you. Yes, the heat will come back, but it won't be as brutal as the last one will be. And I don't see any way to get back up there again, really, for the rest of the year. So, mix of good and bad news. I mean, if you still want to get some outdoor summery stuff done, you got cool weather to do that with, and you got warm weather, hot weather to do that with. But other than the storms we had Friday, we're going to stay quiet. Everything's going to be focused on the tropics for the next 10 days, especially. Any questions? This is good. Everyone ready? Anyone ready for fall? Surely you guys are ready for fall. I'm ready. I promise you, I've been looking at all the hints. The Japanese model did update it. I'll try to show you guys that tomorrow. I start officially working on the winter forecast Friday. I start working on the data on it. So we'll see what that shows. I'll worry about that later. I'll give you some hints along the way, but remember, it's Halloween night is when that forecast comes out. Not much in the way of rainfall here, guys, other than a spotty shower in central Kentucky tonight. And with the front moving in from the north Tuesday night, it looks mainly dry for quite some time here. So good weather, get some stuff done outside. All right, have a good one. Behave yourselves. Hi, Damon. Hope you're doing well, Damon. So everyone say hi. Everyone say hi to Kim. Kim's not ready for fall. You want more summer pool weather? All right, that's fine. That's fair, Kim. Get ready. It's coming your way. You got plenty of time, guys. Plenty of time. All right, enjoy your rest of your day. I will have an update on Hurricane Idalia coming up on midday at 11 a.m. Otherwise, I will see you guys coming up on the flip side. Take care and stay out of trouble.